So our next goal with this dashboard is actually going to take a whole video to explain, and it's super important because we get this really cool piece of data that isn't available many other places. So our main goal, what we're going to do is we're going to find the last recorded market cap number and then compare it against our current market cap number. So we want to see the difference. We want to see if we gained or lost market cap. So we're going to write a formula to look back in time in our data. I'm going to give you the formula, so don't worry, it's a pretty long one. And we're going to select the row that has the last recorded market cap figure. So the way this formula works in just plain English is we're going to search for our most recent previous match of Doge, and then we're going to select that cell that has that last recorded entry for market cap, and then we're going to reference it. So this cell is going to be like our previous market cap is what it is. Then what we'll do is we'll, inside of Google Data Studio, subtract the previous and the current, and then we will know the difference. So we'll be able to say, did it go up or down? So that's the goal of this, and I'm going to show you this formula. Don't get overwhelmed because you'll have it. You'll be able to manipulate it, and if your sheet is set up just the way mine is, which it'll pretty much have to be if you follow along, you'll be okay. So here's our column with the formula already filled out. I've called it previous market cap. So let me explain to you what you're looking at. This right here in the cell, this is what you're gonna put in the cell. You're going to start with an equal sign and then the rest of this. So what are we doing? Let's talk through this first line right here. So we say equals index. So index means basically we're searching through all the rows and we want that specific row. So we are referencing BJ2 through BJ4. So we're actually going through and we're getting all the way up to and one past. We're searching this area, which is the market cap. And then we are getting large, which means like the second most largest element from the data set. So we're going to get one down from that. And we're only going to do that if J3 equals a match within J3 to J2, so somewhere within this range, and J is our symbol. If we go all the way over here, we can see J is the symbols. So we're going to be going through looking for that symbol like we said, finding the match, and then we're going to get that row within that range, and then we're going to get the row number, and then we're going to get one up from that. And this is going to be super confusing, but I'm going to show you how it's working out right now. So this is returning a value. So right now we have previous market cap and current market cap, right? We don't have any previous up in here. We don't have any previous recordings of Doge. So right now the previous market cap is the current. But right here on this next line, you can see the current market cap is like 2.8 and the previous is 2.69, right? And then over here, so current 2.99, previous 2.89. So it's grabbing that if it finds a match. So this is kind of an interesting thing. The one thing that you'll have to change, right, is when you first have your market data like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has no other previous matches. So we had to kind of modify all of the first recorded instances to just reference themselves. So that's why let me show you here. Yeah, perfect. So like if you see the reference right here, if you need it to reference the past, then you need to change this to be one previous. So like if I needed this to reference a past, I would change this to J2. But it can just reference itself because it's the first one. This will kind of make sense going down. So like right here, we're on line 6, and I'm referencing 5. So I'm referencing from 5 up. I'm not going to reference 6 because I need to look into the past to see, because these are all Dogecoin entries. And I know this is getting pretty confusing, but let me show you some examples of how this is working, so that way you can have some confidence in it. So I went all the way down through here. I did like another run of the data, right? And so let's go down here. So like here's an example of one. We have 4739 as the previous and 4736 as the current. So let's actually go through, find that. Let's copy this, find it. There should be only one other match, right? So we have this entry on row 39. Let's see what the symbol was for that. So that was FIL, Filecoin. And let's go look and see on row 139. That's Filecoin. So this is sort of that data verification to make sure we got our formula right. So this one, look down here, this is doing exactly what we want it to do. It's looking into the past. So this is saying, look at row 138 and up and find me a match, and then bring me back that value that matches that. Because I want to look for, it says find myself, find my symbol in the past. This is what this is doing. So if you set this up and it isn't working, chances are that you have messed up on this right here, this specific value. And all of your rows and columns should be set up the same as mine. So all of these J's and BJ and J and BJ are the only columns we're messing with. They should all match perfectly. So you shouldn't have any like hashtag errors or hashtag num. You shouldn't have any sort of issues coming through, and you should be pulling the past schema. Now if you look and it's giving you an error, that's because you haven't calibrated it to look for itself, because it is the first value and there is nothing in the past. So I think I've explained this well enough, but go ahead and get this, set this up to calculate. And then what you're going to want to do is this is going to need to go like way down the line. And you're going to have that num error right there. So if this is blank, we would have normally gotten a number error. And I'll actually show you what that error would have looked like beforehand. And I'm going to replace this with just an equal sign so you can see. So beforehand, we would have gotten this num error, which will throw our whole data set off, because we either need like a blank value or we need there to be a number there. So we can't have this num error or it's going to throw off our entire data set. So what we'll do is we'll just put a little clause in here and we'll just say, hey, if it's blank, just don't worry about it. So if you plug this into the front, this is the smartest way to build this out. So we'll say if this value right here with this date, is empty. We could pick anything, but we'll just say, hey, if that's blank, there's no data in the row. And then what I want you to do is fill this column, which is nothing. But if there is something there, I want you to execute, go through, find the value, and proceed. So that's how you do that. So we'll do that. Then we'll take this and we'll literally just drag it down to infinity. And this is going to be kind of a lengthy process. And it's the only thing about this is probably the most caveman way to actually do this sort of data formulation and databasing inside of Google Sheets. Eventually, like, something might break, but I wish I could just calculate this column to just know that this is the case for every single row that it's ever going to take. But the way that Google Sheets is built up, as we're using it for a database, it's like an open source solution to get you there, but you have to do a couple of different like hacky things to make it work. But hey, in the meantime, you're learning about how to write some pretty cool formulas that could be pretty useful in the long run. So anyhow, we have all the previous market caps in here. We have all these blank values, and as the new data comes in, this should calculate just fine because we put this column on the end of our data, so it's not going to interfere. It's going to be like one of the last things that's actually in there. So this should calculate the previous market cap, and now we're in a place where we can go ahead and move back into Google Data Studio, and we can make a table chart that shows if it went up or down, or what happened, what the difference was.